Okay, good morning. I don't come often to Delhi, and if this is the reception, I will never come to Delhi again. Good morning. Yeah, that's better. That's better. In a cold morning, you should be having a lot more energy, and one of the things to do is to just move your body, shout, scream, clap. It'll bring you a lot of energy. So let's keep it energetic. And the topic is building intelligent, always on brand engines for growth. And I'll use some examples at HDFC Bank of what we have done. And before I dive into this, I just want to explain a little bit about what is this brand engine that we talk about. So first is simple definition so that we are all on the same page. And I have defined brand simply like this. A brand is a collection of association in the minds of the consumers. It's not about 1, 2, 3 campaigns that you do, one TV film that you do. It is all about a collection of association in the minds of the consumers, and it gets done over a long period of time. And today when you talk about airline industry, many of us had trouble coming into Delhi. It's all about what is the experience that you do. It is not about that one campaign experience. It's about the ticketing experience. It's about the travel to the airport. It's about at the gate when they check you in. It is about the security experience. How much of it you can control as an airline company? You control only when you actually sit in the plane. But you have so much of variability, but that is how it is associated in the minds of the consumer. So we need to be very, very clear about what is it that we are talking about as the consumer experience when it comes to your brand. And what's an engine? Very simple. It's an engine is nothing but which allows you to move from one place to another place, and it has to be refueled again and again. No engine, there is no perpetual motion mission, as many of you engineers would know. You need to refuel it. And what is that refuel that you do? It is nothing but the actions and the experiences that you create for your consumers, which allows the consumers to choose you over somebody else. Because there are multiple people in any industry that you talk about. If this is the thing, what has changed? Compared to, say, for example, when I started my career, and I see a lot of college kids here, when I started my career, it was the age of mass media, meaning there was a one-to-many conversation that was happening, and this is the way everybody did marketing. You have to go ahead and talk about your foundational, fundamental values and create your own identity in the minds of the consumers, and predominantly it was mass media campaigns which were the ones which were driving it. Today, it's the age of digital and social media. And here, what you see is, it is about our focus on customer interaction, which happens across multiple touch points. The experience will be very, very different. I saw a recent ad, again looking at the airline industry, about one airline saying, our airline is the family in your sky, in the sky, your family in the sky. No, remember, 20 years back, if you had a bad experience with an airline, who would you tell and how do you tell? Invariably, the only thing that you will do is you'll tell your known friends and family. Today, how many of you people see tweets coming out about Air India if the flight is not good? And that too from all celebrities and all those stuff. Suddenly, the way you look at managing these kind of experiences, where anybody can go ahead and put in the world what they think about a brand, defines how you will actually create. So if this is happening, what's more important now is what was a brand engine is now a brand experience engine that we need to look at. No more it is about brand. It is about the brand experience. You are not a brand custodian. You are a brand experience custodian. You have to add to that storytelling of what we do, to that storytelling, how are you going to leverage tech to come and solve people's problem. If I look at our own industry, the banking industry that I come from, the customer journey is digital. There might be a consumer who will go to Google and search about a banking product. Then they will come to a platform of ours, where they will come to know a little bit more about it. They might call the call center, they might visit the branch, they might come back to a digital and continue the conversation. It is omnichannel, it is phygital for us as a bank. Now, in this kind of a phygital journey, what is needed? What is needed is the ability to understand the context and the continuity of conversations. You need a lot of memory. What happened previously? How do I actually keep that in the minds of what our employees can do, and then go ahead and connect everything? It has to be personalized. It can't be just like I will have the same statement to say, for example, I see Ishani. my ex-colleague sitting here, and I should not be having the same conversation with somebody else like a Siddharth, because they are all different people, the contexts are different. We should have the memory created. If we do this, then we will have loyalty and customer satisfaction. Now the question is, how will we get there? Everybody says this has to be done. So how will we get there? I like this cartoon. Everybody talks about AI, even martech.ai.com, that's what Brit said. So if you think AI is the only tool that you have, all your problem looks like nails. Is AI the only tool that you are going to use to solve all your marketing problems? And today, this is the buzzword, and maybe Gen AI is the new buzzword. And we see it being talked about by everybody. We see it being talked about by, and being used by everybody. Everybody claims to use it also. So the way we want to look at it, and this is a core belief at HDFC Bank, human stupidity cannot be overcome by artificial intelligence. So it's very, very important to appreciate this. We strongly believe this is not going to replace human stupidity. There has to be a huge work that we all do as individuals, as human beings, to understand consumer, the context, and what is the problem that we are trying to solve. And then maybe AI as an added layer to help you reach the consumer better, faster, and other stuff. And this is what the human stupidity, if you put it into an AI machine, this is what you will get. And another joke, interesting, which I learned yesterday, one AI agent was being talked to help consumers and interact consumers, what even Bridge was saying, like two AI agents will talk to consumers. Well, somebody has placed an order, so the consumers obviously will wait for the order to be delivered. So order booked, enjoy your meal, is what the waiter says. The other agent says, yes, you also enjoy the meal. How is it even possible? How can you tell a waiter that you enjoy the meal? So you have to understand how, if you are stupid and you put it into an AI system, it will only be stupidity multiplied by enormous numbers. So how do we go about doing this? So what we started is start and define a real business problem that you want to solve. Before doing anything else about AI, start looking at what is it that the business problem that you can solve, and also keep in mind whether you have the railroads that you have built to solve these business problems. If you do not have these railroads, you can't solve the business problems. So look at the railroads. I'll talk about railroads a little bit later. Look at the railroads that you have already built and then define the business problem. We took two business problems. I said banking is phygital. The first business problem we took is, what is it that as marketing we can directly contribute to business? That's the first business problem. The second business problem is, can we use the same marketing technology investments that we do to help people on the ground, which is our branch relationship managers, which is our phone banking relationship managers? How do we actually help them have a better conversation with customer? That's what I call it as employee salience. If you have this, then you can solve typical marketeer's problem. Because everybody will talk about all this stuff. And I saw the agenda. I think most of the agenda points are getting covered today, and you will have lots of people coming and talking about all this stuff. But all this stuff has to actually solve the business problem. So start here and then go there. And I'll take two examples of personalization, scale, or creative velocity as an example to say how AI can help in solving some of these problems. This is the typical customer journey for a banking customer. As a marketer like us sitting here in Bombay, we have 50 products to sell. We have 15 personas. We have 9 channels in which people are interacting. And how many of you will buy a credit card just by a whim here? Nobody will buy. You'll have lots of questions. Maybe you'll talk to your friends. Maybe you'll talk to somebody who has a card. Maybe you will compare. At least 200 questions we need to answer. Now imagine if I multiply this for all the products that we have. I'm talking about almost 1.35 million pieces of content. It will take 860 odd man hours to get it. Now we always talk about A/B testing, because we don't know when content that we do is going to good. If we do that, it talks about what? 8,600 man hours, 13 million pieces of content. Is it possible, humanly possible to generate this? So the always on agentic network that we talk about looks like this. Look at the customer content, collect data real time, let AI interpret the metadata, let AI give you the content at n is equal to 1, use the same data for both direct reach to the customers and then to your direct communication. Then you will get customer delight and loyalty. And I'll give you 2 examples of how we have done it. Here is the first example. We have multiple offers on credit cards. We understand as a bank that you use cards, you use your account, you use your UPI, and everything comes back to the bank in terms of where you are. We understand that you do a lot more, and you are actually very interested in fashion purchase. You are very interested in travel and all those stuff. And I'm using typical examples of what we see in the card. This we have done for personal loan, we have done for other products also. We have put all the data together, and that is what I meant by railroad. To do this takes a hell of a lot of effort and time. Once you build the railroads, we are able to identify for this particular customer, these are the 3 things which is going to be relevant at this point of time based on what the customer has done in the past. And this is not AI alone, this is a huge amount of data engineering and collecting the data together to get this understanding using analytics. Now that we have done directly, we revamped our Smart Buy, and I would want all of you to go ahead and look at HDFC Bank Smart Buy. If you're a HDFC Bank customer, log in. In your For You sections, you will see extremely relevant based on who you are. That's the power of artificial intelligence and data putting together to get to this solution. This on direct outreach. Now, how do I actually help it for my other thing, which is called the employee salience? How do I take this to my branch relationship managers? We put a simple QR code solution. We ask the customer to scan the QR code and log in, and whatever the customer sees, we are able to identify who is the relationship manager behind based on the QR, and we send the same information to the relationship manager by way of an email or an SMS or a WhatsApp, saying this is what Ravi is seeing, this is Ravi's offer, now have a conversation on the same basis. So here, you are using the same tech to go ahead and directly consume, as well as go ahead and help the employees on the ground to have a conversation which is holistic, which actually uses the entire data knowledge that the bank has about the customer and brings it in front of the employee. Now, where do you see it going forward? What is the next step? The next step is all about GenAI. Instead of actually putting all this data in the way in which I showed you, can I actually make it into simple English? And can I actually heavily personalize? We are not ready there, we are not yet there, but we will get there, and this is what will go to the RM. This is what exactly will go, because we know the customer has a diner's card, and this is the kind of savings they will be able to do because of the fact that they will use a Smart Buy voucher. And this is the future that we are seeing. So, as I said, railroads, it is important to understand for all of these things to happen, what is the groundwork that you need to do. And if any of you have any inhibition saying that it will all happen in 1 year, 2 years, even Bridge said the next 2 years is what you will see, this itself took 3 years for us to get here. So it's heavy engineering on data side and analytics side, and that's where all of you should focus on today. If you have a railroad, please look at how do we create capability within the organization. If you do not have the railroads, please look at how to build those railroads. And when you're talking about creating capability within the organization, it is all about setting a stage for creating an inspiring vision, and we set that by saying that we will get 25% of the business done direct without any human intervention in the bank. Today we have crossed 25% in many products. There's no human intervention. A team of 300 people do business of what 210,000 employees do. That's the kind of work that we have done to get, because we started off with a vision saying reach there and put all things ground up to get to there. Once you set the stage, what is important is to create space for experiments. And technology keeps changing, as Bridge was saying. From the time I joined the bank to the time I am now here, 8 years, the number of turns of technology change in MarTech I have seen is phenomenal. So you should be in a position to create a lot of space for experiments and allow people to fail. And the fail fast is all what you hear, but are you actually practicing that in your organization? If you're not the leader, and if you're a support employee here now, are you pushing yourself to say, hey, I want the freedom to experiment more? But define guardrails. What is preventable and what is intelligent failure? We should be able to very clearly do it. And the last one is celebrate the failures and celebrate the successes also, and speak up in terms of what is good for the consumers. I deliberately put celebrate failures. I not said celebrate success because everybody says celebrate success. But if you want to really, really leverage MarTech, really, really leverage AI, the most important thing that all of us have to do to build always on brand engines, brand experience engines, is to celebrate failures. The more number of failures we all have in creating this, the more I am confident that they'll all reach the space that we want to do. So let's go ahead, keep building and transforming our brands together. Thank you.